Hello Aces, hello teachers, hello everyone. This would be Teacher A for today. Now, we are back for our LDM2 course for teacher module 3B, referring to the learning resources, and we have here a sample answers. Okay, now let's focus on this particular part for the module 3B. Actually, as I stated before, that module 3 of the LDM2 comprises of different tasks and subdivided into module 3A and module 3B. Now, this would be your guide and reference in answering your study notebook and your reflection for module 3B. For lesson 1, the question would be for the activity 1, the DepEd memorandum on suggested strategies in implementing LDMs for SY 2020-2021 included the learning resources map as a guide in selecting the appropriate distance LDM to be implemented in schools and divisions. Study this map and answer the following question. Before you particularly answer this question, you may need to browse first the LR map as your guide in selecting appropriate distance learning. Now, for the first question, based on the map, what resources should have in order to implement the LDM adopted by your school and division? You must need to be sure on what modality your school or your division will be implementing. It can be modular distance learning or online distance learning or the combination of the two, but there are no face-to-face interactions for this school year as mandated by the government. Now, this would be my sample answer in question number 1. And of course, for question number 2, do you have the complete resources for the distance LDM needed in class? If the LRs are not complete or not available, what steps will you take to make this available? What are your options to substitute these missing LRs? Now, this would be my sample response on question number 2. Now, let's proceed to the continuation answer of this question. Okay. Now, for number 3, what support will you need to maximize the use of the 2 DepEd sanctioned LR portals? From whom can you get this support? This would be the answer. You can pause the video if you want to take time to read. Now, for question number 4, based on your evaluation of the materials, are they appropriate to the level and characteristics of learners? Are there learners who might be disadvantaged by the materials based on reading ability, level of learning independence, and level of household support and distance? What adjustment will you make in terms of the LRs? Now, for this module 3, we are referring to the learning resources, how we can maximize our resources in order to cope up with the need of learners in different level of academic stand, in different level of skills and absorption of knowledge. Now, this would be my answer on how can I make adjustments in the LRs in order to support the need of the learners. Let us proceed to the lesson 2, or accessing learning resources from DepEd portals. Now, we have here the questions for activity 1. Given the LDM adopted in your school, how can the 2 DepEd portals respond to your LR needs and those of your learners? How do they complement the LRs that you already have? This would be my sample response. You can use this as your guide in answering your own reflection, or you are drafting your answer in your study notebook. Now, for question number 2, what are the challenges in accessing the LRs in the portals both for you and your learners? How will you overcome these challenges? That would be my sample response. Now, let us proceed on number 3. What support will you need to be able to maximize the use of the LR portals? From whom you can get this support? Actually, this is also the same response in the previous one. Now, let's proceed to lesson number 3, accessing the... Again, it's also part of this one. The question would be, On activity 1, study the LR Rapid Assessment Tool. Download an LR or download a learning resource from either DepEd or LRMDS portal and assess the material using the tool. DepEd Commons to be exact. Answer the following questions. Number 1, was the material able to meet all the requirements? You need to study here first the LR Rapid tool, the LR Rapid Assessment tool prior in answering this activity. This would be my sample answer. Now, for question number 2, were there any question in the assessment tool where you answered no or cannot be determined? What decision will you make on the LR material and why? That will be my sample answer. I guess I answered yes here because the materials were derived from DepEd sites. Therefore, they are reviewed and validated by experts from the division F or from the central office themselves. Now, for number 3, are there aspects of the material not covered by the tool but still need to be assessed? Specify which aspect or aspects. You can give one. My answer here would be adaptability of the content into localized transformation. That would be another aspect that I would like to add. But if your answer is none, you are not recommending any aspects that should be included, that will be okay. You can justify your response. Now, number 4, how does this exercise help you in picking the right appropriate LRs for lesson and your learners? That's it. If it is from DepEd site or non-DepEd sites. Now, activity 2, explore other non-DepEd LR portals, platform you can find online. Take note of the portals in your study notebook. Download at least one LR from each portal. Assess the materials using the same tool and answer the following questions. In the previous activity, we are referring to the materials downloaded from the DepEd Commons or LRMDS. Now, for this activity, we'll be referring to the downloaded LRs or downloaded materials from non-DepEd sites. Now, you can answer this one. Based on the assessment tool, how does the material from a non-DepEd portal compare with the LR from the DepEd portal? I use a bullet form in order to identify the similarities and the differences of DepEd and non-DepEd LRs based on the assessment tool. Now, for question number 2, based on the result of the assessment tool, what improvements do the materials bought from DepEd and non-DepEd portals still need? Yeah, that would be my response. This can serve as your guidepost in answering your activities in your study notebook. Now, number 3, how does this exercise help you in picking the right appropriate LRs for your lesson and your learners? I do have the same response from lesson 3, activity 1, number 4. Number 3, activity 3. Choose one of the LR materials that you have developed. Assess this material using same tool. Answer the following questions in your study notebook. The first activity refers to the DepEd site, like the DepEd Commons and LRMDS, how you assess the downloaded material. The second one would be from a non-DepEd site. You will be assessing also the material. And the third one would be your self-made material. You will be assessing them based on the LR Rapid Assessment tool. Now, this is my answer. How does your material compare with the ones that are obtained from the online portal? And what improvements do you still need to make in your developed material? I answered here strategic intervention material because I'm crafting sim to make or for easy and innovative crafting of the lessons. Now, I have here an example of LR Rapid Assessment tool that I already answered earlier. Okay, let us try to find this on our study notebook. In answering, take note of this one. In this module 3B, you are required to submit accomplish LR Rapid Assessment tool you need to with complete reflection, because the first one would be a DepEd LR, downloaded LR, and then another one would be a non-DepEd. You will be comparing them using the or assessing them using the LR Rapid Assessment tool. Now let us first open our LR Rapid Assessment under the DepEd portal. Now this would be my sample response. Okay, answered yes, and we have 4 reflection questions here, same as in the activity. Okay, you can pause the video if you want to read them well for your reference. Okay. Once again, let us browse. The first part would be the rapid assessment of learning resources, LRs for DepEd portals, and the reflection questions. And I also have here the non-DepEd, but actually for non-DepEd the difference between them would be here. Sometimes the layout is not appropriate because they may be available in website. I already answered that in the activity. Now, as a reminder, always browse the LR map, read the memorandum pertaining to DepEd Commons on how you can use them, on how to access LRMDS portal, and of course please study the LR Rapid Assessment tool and compare or validate or assess LR from DepEd portals and LR from non-DepEd portals for your expected output in Module 3B Learning Resources. That would be all for this particular video. I do hope that you already subscribe and click the notification bell so that you will be notified for our next video. That will be Module 4 and Module 5 of LDM2 course for teacher. Happy learning everyone. Sulong edukadildan.